Hi, good morning. So today I wanted to talk about witnessing, and I think it's something that I think we mention a lot, but I wanted to talk about it a little deeper. I think the term witnessing it can be a euphemism where we talk about it and we don't really go deeper into what it might actually look like. So that's what I'd like to do today. So what is witnessing? In Christian churches, you might hear about preaching the gospel. So that's where I want to start. And what is the gospel? A lot of times you hear about the gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You hear about the gospel of Jesus. But what does gospel actually mean? Well, gospel comes from an older English word. Or it's two words. It's actually good spell, which is literally good news. So the gospel is the good news. So if you want to be able to preach the gospel, you have to be able to preach good news. The early Christian church had good news, and for a lot of the early church, it was really popular among women, and it was popular among the lower classes because Jesus preached a message of equality, of how your status does not matter in front of God. And so for the Roman world, which was a very hierarchical and also male-dominated society, the message of Jesus was really resonated with women, with slaves, with the lower classes. So for them, it really was good news that their lives didn't have to be defined by how they were living now on earth, but there could be something for them in the future if they followed Jesus. So to be able to witness, we have to be able to have good news to share with other people. Next, there's also that word, witness. So in a religious context, it's to preach the gospel. But it also means something literally, yes, to see. So if you are a witness, you have seen something. If you are a witness in a court of law, it means you're able to testify to something that you have seen, you have heard, you have experienced. So this is the other part of witnessing. So not only is it sharing good news, but it is also good news that you have seen or experienced. So to give an example of this, if I were to ask you if I were to tell you to go out and get people to watch Star Wars, do you think you'd be able to do it? So there's a lot of hesitation here. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Have you seen Star Wars? Who has seen Star Wars? Not everyone's hand went up, so it's not everyone. So if I was to tell you to go out and tell people about watching Star Wars, that could be a problem if you haven't seen the movie, right? Yeah. So now, if I was to tell you to go out and ask people to watch your favorite movie, how do you feel about that? Yeah, so it's easy, right? Because why? You've watched the movie, you have a reason why you like it, and so you can share from your personal experience. You can say, hey, here's this great movie, this is why I liked it, this is why I think you should go see it. So that has a different feeling. So to be able to witness, we need to have good news, and we have to be able to testify to it from our experience. There's also a third part of witnessing, and that is that actions speak louder than words. So I know we've probably all heard that before, but actually, actions are also a form of witnessing. So it's not just the words that we say, but it's also what we do. So there's an interesting Pew Research. They're a polling organization in the United States. They've done a lot of they've done a lot of surveys. One of the surveys they've done is on religion, and they've asked Catholics and former Catholics. They've asked former Catholics why they left the Catholic Church, and for 30%. Hi. For 30% of former Catholics, the reason they left is because of the sex abuse scandal. And so, in a way, that is a form of witnessing. So, in a way, the Catholic Church was witnessing to its members that keeping the sex abuse hidden was more important than the well-being of their members. And so in that way, their actions were speaking louder than the sermons that they were giving. I have a friend at work who was telling me why he doesn't believe in God. And he said he grew up Catholic, both of his friends were Catholic, or both of his parents were Catholic. And he said that, well, you know, they went to church every day, and they still weren't great people. So why should I go to church? And so in a way, for him, his parents were witnessing to him about the impact that their faith had for them, which for my friend, he didn't see what the impact was. This also goes both ways, though, right? It's not just the bad, it's also the good. There was, I don't remember his name, but there's a young man from Indiana who recently converted to Unificationism, and Ellis. And he was sharing that, you know, he's really done a lot to try to live according to the principle. And he said that, you know, his friends and his siblings have told him, like, you know, I don't know about this church that you're part of, but I see that it's making a difference in your life. I see that you're acting different, and like, we really respect that. Like, that's really cool. And so, in that way, he is witnessing to his friends and his family about the impact that God is making in his life. And actually, this was a part of why the early Christian church was also so successful, is that not only did they talk about, they didn't just talk about how the last would be first, but they actually created ministries to take care of women, to take care of orphans. They collected offerings to give to the poor. And in Roman society, this was really weird. Like, why would you take care of poor people? Like, they're poor. If they're suffering, who cares? And of course, if you were poor and you were being taken care of, you would see that, hey, maybe there's something about this new idea that we should follow. Maybe this is actually a really good thing, and we want other people to know about this as well. And so in that way, the actions of the early church really aligned with what they were teaching. And, you know, I think this is why both True Father and also Mother talk about the importance of not misusing public money and also not hurting the hearts of others, because that is a way we can negatively witness to other people with our actions. And so, my ideal, I really believe in having a better world, creating a better world through ideal families. And so, what I'm really focused on is having a wonderful marriage, raising my son, and I want my friends, I want other people to be able to look at that and have that be a witness, to have a beautiful family, to have a beautiful marriage. And so right now, that's how I want to witness to the world. So to summarize, to be able to witness, you need good news. You need good news to be able to share. You need to be able to testify to it. So you have to be able to have experienced or seen it. And then your actions also need to align with what you're preaching. So then, who are we witnessing to? Who is our audience? I think a lot of times we think of the audience as the people out there. But actually, I consider that the people that we witness to longest is actually our family. So there's your spouse, there's your siblings, there's your children. These are all people that we're going to be living with in close proximity, and we're going to be witnessing to them about the impact that God and true parents and the principle has. And so if our spouse or our children or our siblings aren't feeling that, then perhaps that's something we need to work on. Because someone that we meet on the street and we only see once a week, maybe they might be impressed by what we have to share, but if our spouse or our siblings or our children aren't impressed by what we have to offer every day, then perhaps that's something we also need to be thinking about as well. And so I want to close by talking about the importance of starting small. There's a lot of new teachings, new ideas that Mother is talking about, and we might feel that, well, if I want to witness, if I want to share what's important to me, I have to be able to share everything. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think that we need to be able to share everything. I think we need to start from what is most important, what we can really resonate with, and share that. So whether that is our faith in God, whether that is the principle, our belief in families, so start there. And then if you resonate with everything that Mother is saying, absolutely witness about that. Share your experience with that. But if you don't have the experience of that yet, then maybe that's something you need to look for, to find that experience, so that you can be able to testify it from your experience. That might be prayer, that might be reading Mother's words. Maybe that's talking to other people who are really inspired by what Mother is saying, so that they can witness to you about their experience. But I think that it's important to start with what is really moving to us, what's really inspiring us, and to share about that. And if we want to share if we want to witness about really anything, if there's something that you want to share, be able to share about, and you don't have that experience yet, well, then that is a reason to look for experience, to look for that inspiration, so that you can actually be able to share from it, and that you're not just sharing about it because someone has told you it's important to share about it. So with that in mind, I had a couple of questions to think about, and if people can pair up, talk to the person next to them. What is good news that you can testify to? So what inspires you? What is something that you want you would want to share about? And what is one way you can witness with your actions? So, find someone you want to share with, pair up. If you haven't switched, please switch. if everyone can start wrapping it up. All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. So I want to ask for a couple of volunteers if they would be willing to share what their answers were. Uncle Chris?
Well, it's on. You hear me?
Yes.
For me, it was the first question. What is good news that you can testify to? Well, in my case, from a child, I was expecting the Messiah to return. And in my wife's case, it was understanding the dream of God. That's enough. And then what is one way you can witness with your actions? My writing and my book that I wrote, I had no intention of it being a best-selling book for the whole world. And as you mentioned, my first reaction came from my family. And he became an ally. He became, my John the Baptist. He was witnessing for me to others in our small family, And that was the most satisfying by what you acknowledged. We start with our family and our own tribe, that sort of thing. And then she agreed with her action is to support me.
Thank
no
you for
choice.
sharing.
Why is it in my hand?
Would anyone?
I like these ladies and their interpretation also, but
Yeah, I think what's good news that you can testify to. I was sharing how I've always appreciated growing up in a multicultural family, and then having, even though I grew up in Kenya, many of the blessed families, their parents were from different parts of the country, different parts of the continent, and also the world. So it gave me more of a compassionate understanding towards my classmates and my friends. And so whenever my friends would say stuff and they're like, "Oh, you're not so judgy," I'm like, it's not my space to, I want to hear and learn from you. So I guess good news I can testify to is the benefit of coming from multicultural families who are trying to be better and to do something better. So I guess the ripple effect of that is then I can be a more compassionate human being for others. Like Naomi shared about witness with your actions, I appreciate her sharing. There was a friend of hers who wanted to do something that Naomi thought she's like, this is not in line with my ideals. I love you as my friend and I respect you, but I'm not going to support you in this way. And years later, this friend looked up, Naomi, which church does she go to, what's there, because they went overseas for, they studied abroad. He's from Brazil. So when he looked up about the church, he saw all these negative things about the church. But he came back to Naomi and he was like, well, I see all these things about you, about your church, but I experienced you as a person, and you're a very good person, and I appreciate how you were to me as a friend. So in that regard, like Naomi was sharing, it doesn't have to be that you're changing someone now. Like years later, somebody can see the effect of who you are to them. So yeah.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you for discussing in your pairs or groups, and thank you to Uncle Chris and to Yumi for sharing with the room. Let's give them all a round of applause again. All right. If there were conversations that you really enjoyed having, then consider continuing those conversations during lunch. And I'll close us in a prayer. Hi, God. My heart's beating, and the light's in my eyes. God, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to share. I want to say thank you for the conversations that people are having, and I want to say thank you for. I want to say thank you for being able to grow up surrounded by the ideal for having better families and to change the world through family. I ask that we can go from Sunday service today to have a good week, that we can encounter you, we can have experiences with you this week, and that we can also notice the opportunities we have to share your love, and that we can be inspired to act on those opportunities, and to share your love with other people. I report this in the name of Sunder, of the Will It Bless family, Aju.